Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now August 6th of 2023, and given that we are inching closer toward that Snow White official trailer by Disney, and of course, what's going to happen by this September, what the backlash is going to look like shall be very interesting, I will be honest. Now, given that the Disney board, they really are going through a lot of different avenues of damage control. Everything ranging from whether or not they want to delay the Marvels, or if they want to do what they have to do with Snow White to improve the marketing, which, by the way, they're not going to be able to do anything because regardless of what's happening with the Seven Dwarfs, it's not going to fix the issue. And on top of the list, we have a lot of problems arising with Star Wars now and the Lucasfilm purge happening behind closed doors and a whole lot more on top of this. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what's going on with Lizzo and Disney behind the scenes, and why this is yet another big problem for Disney's image, and specifically for everything happening with Star Wars and what Disney recently did. Now, I'm sure that you guys have heard about the ongoing issues with Lizzo. Whether or not it's true is something that a lot of people have been debating on, and it's a big back and forth situation. But it's enough for Disney to pull the plug on Lizzo's character called the Duchess for Star Wars, and of course for the Mandoverse at large, as she has been fired and laid off from everything Star Wars related. We're going to be getting into the very specifics about exactly what really happened here and a whole lot more. Now, with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm dealing with multiple issues for Star Wars right now, especially after Disney's cost containment plan went active, one major development has much to do with actress and performer Lizzo. Much of this has to do with the ongoing drama and issues happening for her that led Disney to firing her from 2 Star Wars projects and a third one that was being discussed related to the Mandoverse. Surprisingly, Lizzo was attached to appear again in Mando Season 4 and even in the upcoming Skeleton Crew series for the planned reshoots, which, by the way, may or may not still happen depending on the strikes. Now, her role in both shows were described to be more significant than her role in Mando Season 3, quite drastically different, mind you, where she was going to pop in and out of each show several times. So far right now, Jack Black is still set to reappear in Mando Season 4, and even Skeleton Crew, with Lizzo now completely off the table after the ongoing allegations. Now, Disney doesn't want to deal with the heat from that for this year leading into 2025 for Mando 4, where Lizzo was also in the talks to make an appearance in a new Mandalorian spin-off series that will, by the way, be announced by this September to expand the Mandoverse slightly for next year. So guys, let me pause here for 1 second. Now, that was the major criticism that I had with Mando Season 3. If you guys have been following me for quite some time, you will know that I was an ongoing skeptic about throwing in celebrity cameos into Mandalorian Season 3. Now, I have nothing against Jack Black, personally. I have nothing against Lizzo, personally, at all. But it was ridiculous to have them make an appearance in The Mandalorian. It just made absolutely no sense. It was so out of character. It was so out of reality for Star Wars, where it just, I don't know, it just stood out like a sore thumb. It just did not work. And I think that Jack Black was a little bit more doable because his acting, at least, was better than Lizzo's. Lizzo's acting in The Mandalorian, let me just be honest, was just utter trash. It was a dumpster fire, it was not worthy of Star Wars, and that was all, by the way, a Kathleen Kennedy-driven idea. She wanted to do that. There's even talks of putting in Cardi B in one of the upcoming Star Wars shows, such as the Acolyte spin-off. We've talked about that before in the past. That's an ongoing development as well. But these celebrity cameos, I think, are just real cheap tactics to kind of surprise audiences, like, oh wow, look, it's Lizzo, or wow, look, it's Jack Black. So that was my ongoing skepticism. I'm glad that they dropped Lizzo from Mando Season 4, the planned Skeleton Crew reshoots, and the other mystery Mandoverse project that she was having conversations with Disney for that are now dropped. Now, I don't know what you guys have to say about this. You know, I would love to hear your take on the whole Lizzo situation, on whether or not you guys are buying into it or not. You know, of course, Lizzo denied this on Instagram. I mean, she's going to refuse that regardless, but I wouldn't be too surprised about it either. Now, looking into this further, this is where things heat up, is that these conversations were suddenly dropped after the drama surrounding Lizzo was erupting online and in the media. Kathleen Kennedy surprisingly was trying to defend Lizzo behind closed doors and wanted to keep her on the table for both shows to reappear as the Duchess. That's her character name, by the way. Lizzo is very much frustrated with Bob Iger's decision and the boards to let go of her from all Star Wars related content moving onwards to prevent backlash. Kennedy, however, believes that this is unfair, as she was defending Lizzo about how no proof about said drama was provided enough to fire her like that behind closed doors for Star Wars and the Mandoverse overall. Now, generally speaking, Disney wants to keep this quiet, where both John and Dave even had no comments to make on the situation behind the scenes as they stayed out of those arguments and those issues. Now look, again, I mean, it's kind of funny that they held out for so long to really kind of just make things a little bit more balanced with Star Wars with John and Dave, and then everything just crashed and burned with Mando Season 3 by including Lizzo into the picture and having that terrible acting at the forefront of a character that really served no purpose. It was just a 100% filler episode that really just wasted a lot of people's time. And I will be honest, I mean, that was probably the worst episode, in isolation, I guess you could say, in that moment. It was nice to have Christopher Lloyd come into the picture. I think he was the only strong point of that episode for Mando Season 3. Christopher Lloyd nailed it. I think he was the great example of how a celebrity cameo can work effectively. But Jack Black and Lizzo it did not work, and I'm glad that they dropped those plans and fired her from anything future Star Wars related, Mando 4, Skeleton Crew, and the Mystery Mandoverse project, all of which are no longer going to feature the Duchess by Lizzo. Now, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy is not surprising. Alright, we've talked about this. She is somebody that absolutely hates Gina Carano, and she is the one that fired her the way that she did in the most unprofessional way possible. And I've defended this for a very long time, that Kathleen Kennedy is the worst example of, somebody that is trying to let go or lay off somebody from a project. And by letting it go loose on social media, yeah, that's the worst thing that you could have ever done. This is why Lucasfilm is in shambles. This is why Disney is in shambles. They have a terrible series of employees running these companies, or presidents, in this case Kathleen Kennedy, running Lucasfilm, and that's why things just keep getting worse and worse. And I'm not that surprised that they wanted Lizzo to reappear in 3 Star Wars projects, mind you, that would have completely just failed utterly if they actually kept the Duchess intact. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to